Hello and welcome to your Timeless Q series episode, where we follow our intuitive thoughts and to see if anything Q related shows up in needing to discuss. In doing so, you may be familiar with the Great Awakening map and perhaps the conspiracies that are either tied or not tied to the Q phenomenon. And I, as a reader, will challenge the mind by delivering perhaps some energies that will trigger certain belief structures that you have constructed for yourself. With that being said, please take the messages that belong to you and leave the rest behind. Feminine, masculine energies show up within a reading, and if and when they do, they could apply to you or that of which of someone you know, whether you're a female and or male-bodied. Past, present, and or future energetical timelines may show up within the reading, so that's why it's very important to use your discernment and judgment to take that which belongs to you and to leave the rest behind. Let's get started. We have the Knight of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, the Queen of Wands. Q's notion is to trigger all of that which it is you think you believe. All of that which it is you deem to build a certain structure in, to take a symbolism and the complexities to understand the symbolism and even inquire why the symbolism was used in the first place, to understand what it means to feel all of the vibrations that now you feel so passionate about, to become very vigilant in addressing that passion within yourself and to see how the world either is for you or working against you. In doing so, in hunting for information, in searching for facts, and while searching for facts, validating them with resonancies of truths or mistruths, because there are mistruths that have been stretched to incorporate truths, and that has been shed forth to the public's eye and honored as the public's perspective as the truth for all to see. Then there are conspiracy theories that prove that the information that is being taken in is information not to be used for face value, but to use the information to come up with decisions of your own, of those of which you see or don't see, in the active engagement of how your life is unfolding itself in the very makeup of right now. Whatever belief it is, whatever you talk about, whatever you show up for, whether you believe in Q, if this is the first time, or you consider yourself an elite to the conversation, it doesn't matter in the Q symbolism. Symbolism isn't meant to indicate a cult. It doesn't mean to worship the symbolism and thus you are part of a cult. It's to take witness that there is energies in need of expression. And isn't it the irony that expression then comes in another form of a symbol? The Q symbol of all letters of the alphabet of the standard 26 letters of the English alphabet, for example, offers another form of looking at the symbol and becoming inquisitive of what other images can come from looking at a perspective. It's like looking at the Wheel of Fortune on this screen and maybe thinking that perhaps this could be a pizza slice. And maybe some of you are having some pizza right now, or thinking, I'm really in the mood for some pizza. But then we also have the irony of that and think that, oh, there's certain conspiracy topics like Pizzagate, where you've become triggered into seeing whether or not the satanic rituals are truly something worth to think about if they're real or not, because some of the delivery of sharing that information just sounds too impossible to say that you agree. It could never be undone. It could never be... Some of you are like, what do you mean it could never be undone? It can't be undone. The only thing that you can do now is change yourself. And if you're part of the doing to change yourself, and that of which you're already causing judgment for yourself because you're surrendering to that of which it is that you're calling yourself a white flag of never wanting to feel the wounds again. And figuring out basically whether or not you're going to live in the trenches or if you're going to get yourself out of the trenches. Princess of Wands and a Seven of Wands. So you're being tested at this time to take the information that you're coming across to see if you can feel whether or not divinity plays a course in delivering that symbolism of understanding for you. Whether or not you can feel how you as a part of now feeling engaged in learning about something and how you can stand up and also to protect the dignity for it to no longer fester and accrue more negativity, maybe be in sort of pursuit here to understand that not all communities are worth trusting, that there's also within a certain institutional, how can I explain this? Institutional feeling of getting this information or your belief structure of some kind, wherever you're getting it from, has been tainted. And it's really difficult for you to believe in, but the energy also of seeing how something is off is also too strong for you to ignore. We have the Emperor energy and the Two of Wands. Again, what's really difficult to ignore is the energy. You're feeling it somewhere in the reality, whether it's, I mean, honestly, you'd have to be very honest with yourself on where you feel unstable in life. And to then see if there's energy of you appreciating that you can at least identify the negatives in your life, to see that there's always a positivity that can be morphed out of that experience. And to realize that at that moment is to know that there is energies that exist outside of you that could come and heal you in more ways than one. And by doing so and allowing that experience to come and foster for yourself and allow you to journey, is going to help assist you in building courage into accepting information that you feel is causing also a cognitive dissonance, right? Where it's really hard for you to take in information because you're so it's hard for me not to use the word indoctrinated, but unfortunately it is that way. When you're so firm into believing something that you can't really allow yourself to believe anything else. And if there's any sorts of resonancy in your life where something in the construct of your mind of what your spiritual journey believes in gets tested, you ultimately will be checked by your ego to accept something that is of difference or of other from you. Because ultimately what you'll be humbled to experience is that we all share the collective form of energy, where you get to use your intuition here with the Two of Wands to make choices within your life, whether or not you want to be close or even involved in energies that are morphing around you. That's where your ego comes into play, and to take in the information that you are coming across and build a certain relationship with your spiritual journey to help identify what the ego is and what world your ego is actually dancing in, and how your thoughts and from what dimensions they're coming from, and being able to rationalize what the overall truth is so that you can understand honesty, again, trumps truth. You're looking for an overall message for Major Arcana. I believe that's the one. Three of Swords. Overall Major Arcana message, Three of Swords. So that means universe has no mercy in the choices that you've developed over yourself. Whether you are on the end of the victim or the perpetrator, the predator or the prey, it doesn't really matter in the eyes of the universe, because you all share the flesh and all have the vibrations or could resonate with the earth vibrations, so your ego take you to that journey of feeling them. Sometimes you're good at it and life comes and hurts anyway. Sometimes you're not good at it and life comes and hurts you, so that you experience what it means to take heed of pain within, so you can bring yourself into earth vibrations. It's really hard to determine where you are in the journey, but to pick either side would also be wrong. It's to accept both light and darkness. Again, to understand light and darkness is to accept that darkness doesn't mean you're going to start putting rituals out there and summoning all darkness to go away. It doesn't work that way, because what you're doing, you're feeding fire exactly where it wants to be fed, because your intention lies there. And if your intention is just in fear and you're living out your life in fear, 90% of the time accrediting your fear to protecting your sanity, then your energy overall is placed in the wrong trajectory of where I believe you'd like to find some form of destiny for yourself. Overall minor arcana message. Three of Swords kind of gives that Grim Reaper vibe over there, no? It's like the mysticism of the vine. Like, shit, I cannot ignore these powers, and I understand. I want to blame people for these powers, so some of you are being misled by trusting certain people that I don't think have their best intentions on their soul level to really offer the type of healing that you feel kind of almost crisscross to believe in, but ultimately you also have chosen the journey for yourself already, so see where the opportunity lies for you. Some of you already have chosen the journey for yourselves. That's okay, you know. No one size fits all. Overall minor arcana message is the Eight of Wands. The only thing that the universe is really caring about right now is watching you work with your ego. Because that includes seeing where your ego has worked for you, where your ego has been pained, where your ego may also be an asshole to others, or maybe also to yourself. Maybe that's why you're also an asshole to others, because you're an asshole to yourself. It's kind of like a vice versa situation. It's tiring. It's a lot of fire energy here, so someone's just like run down and exhausted. They want to say it's the pursuit of passion, but it doesn't always, the fire doesn't always last, right? It needs something else to feed off of, and right now the information is feeding off of perhaps your emotional processing of the information that you're taking in. Ten of Wands and the Four of Wands. Some of you have journeyed for so long that you had no chance to kind of take a break and be able to do what a lot of people end up telling you to do. Maybe it's time to heal, right? It's like a redundant, broken record. Healing time, everyone. Healing time. Everybody come to the circle, hold hands. Meditate, say Om. I'm laughing because it's not for everyone, ladies and gentlemen. And consciousness of light doesn't also need routine in order to be present. Look at that. Present and loud. I mean, we've been bombarded on a political front of what it means for even leaders to use their emotions in wrong ways and to sway public opinion. And we can't even at this point argue that it's wrong, because who's going to really take heed to what we have to say if the whole fucking design of everyone in the system is kind of meeting that vibration? So all you're left to do is take all this residual information and be on the butt end of the source of it and figure out what works for you and what doesn't, which is putting you in absolute, like, a feeling of feeling really small. But at the same time, that feeling that feels really small within you will grow in time and make you realize that's where that sovereignty lies, because that's where the world becomes very infinite. And the ways that it becomes infinite is what most of you don't believe in, which is unconditional love from the universe. Because some of you are not seeing, because you're too busy believing at the anger at the gods instead of seeing what the anger is, allowing itself to remove and change as the earth vibration are taking your anger and utilizing it to create its changes around here and around the globe, or around the earth vibration, whatever you believe in, flat or global, and to really shake up within your own identity. Because somewhere along the journey of the ancestors, or wherever it is for you to be you, you're questioning your experience of what it means to be human. And the ultimate experience of what it means to be human is to feel. And the best feelings come through suffrage, because through suffrage you become humble and learn mistakes. You know, we say in the community, maybe, I don't know, wherever you are, that there's light and dark energy. But technically there's two versions of light and there's two versions of darkness. So altogether there's four. Two to be positive, two to be negative. All of them are positive to the experience, as much as all of them can be negative in a moment. How the energies within the construct of them engage with one another is based on what it is that you are not only feeling, the choices you're making, the people in your life, the information that's coming across for you to question life, to honor life, to be angry at it, to be temperamental, to play with justice, to play with people and their emotions, and thus also playing with your own. It's all part of the experience. Six of Wands, again, Wheel of Fortune, and the King of Wands. The goal of symbolism is to see the phases that it allows itself to generate over time, because symbolism cannot be identified as a solid definition, because it requires too many words for the symbolism to take power. Thus it is a symbolism. Because the power of being able to perceive whatever it allows you to feel is a projection of how the symbolism was able to trigger your thoughts, and your being, your opinion, your behavior, your character development, or whatever. One of the biggest things possibly in the community of conspiracy theories that makes you drive yourself bananas is the concept, is the globe round, or is the globe not a globe, but Earth is actually flat? So flat earthers? And y'all would call me crazy if I saw it, if I would say I saw this shit coming. It's also kind of was what is that song from Damian Marley? Mentions if we would think that the world, if we would learn that the world would be flat again, it would, like, the world would go crazy, something like that. Not verbatim lyrics, of course. This is the first time I think ever in the history of what the humans can foresee to be true, because there's just too much information, that they're literally left alone. That there is no God ascending down from the heavens or up from the grounds of earth. Because if you want to see the gods and goddesses in real time, you'd have to find the courage to look people in the eye. They're walking amongst you. But in a world of 6 feet apart, it's kind of becoming harder to squint and figure out who they are, huh? Look at that girl squinting here. Thankfully, I'm not doing these readings to be liked. Good shit. Ace of Pentacles, Seven of Wands. Fight is real. The Six of Pentacles here, showing up, but not that loud, because you see, maybe if you have the eyes to see, that ironically as how difficult you may feel and take all the information, and you're struggling. I mean, there are people here struggling. But you can't somehow step outside and feel earth vibration and see how smooth things are. Because to be in that 7th dimensional consciousness is to understand earth is vibrating on 7th dimensional consciousness, and everything is fine and dandy over there. No problems. Any problems are null and void, because they just cease to exist, because the energies are just too wicked fast for any toxicities to actually even pretend they want to try to be there. So that's why another word of the conspiracy theories is there, that like thousands of tarot readers will be falling off, right? Because the energy needs to catch up. For the individual to be like, oh, I think the umbilical cord of my disconnection with and of source has been cut, and now it's showing up. But as it's been cut, you also realize what you're left with, and what you're left with is just as passionate as the connection at hand, because you've been at that moment kind of like taking the veil off of you. That human life is really emoting through the senses, and to enjoy every senses. It's like the irony of knowing that COVID, for example, took the sense of smell and the sense of taste along right with it. I, as a master Reiki healer, healed an individual and it got that shit right back. But couldn't even give credit to earth vibration. It was earth vibration to allow the senses to be healed. The nerve endings of the individual to gain vibration of something that is so wicked fast that anything impure in its way will cease to exist. There's a lot at question right now, what it means for the universe to justify this is what I want to keep, because this is a true earth vibration. This is what transmits real solar energy, also producing real sonar vibes and frequency of vibration that you may or may not be feeling, but you sure as hell are feeling it, because there is no way of saying that you're not getting this energy. It's just how it unfolds in your reality and what you want to accept is what will be your truth. All right, let's see. Overall major arcana message. Two of Pentacles. The universe wants you to learn how to make choices. Realizing that choices is part of the game of how the universe has absolutely no say-so in who you are as a person. In gratitude and in negative. In hatred and in happiness. You can't blame universe. It's the source of your witness. The outcome of your choices. Overall minor arcana message. Look at that. 10 of Pentacles. First thing that came to mind was not to lose hope, because that's almost like the wishful 9 of Cups energy that someone wants. Like, oh, I don't want to lose out on everything. I want what's mine. I want the happy ever ending. I want the abundance to come. That's the energy of wishing for the 10 of Pentacles for me as a reader. Wanting that energy to come. Wanting the chapter to close out and be like, oh, this is what it was worth. And then allowing a new chapter to come in and say, all right, I'm ready because I'm satisfied. But there's a lesson here that we're not seeing with the 10 of Pentacles as being in a minor card position. Because the minor card position means that we ultimately need to gain more trust here with our ego. The ego will trigger you to think that there's something wrong, and then your emotions will be hungry, trying to either protect you or become more inquisitive with said fear. And that fear is what will satisfy your ego. Believing in your ego, however, based on fear, is what ultimately could lead you into feeling suffrage and disconnected by the universe, because you're blaming the universe for your experience instead of honoring the experience at hand, becoming so endowed with it that there is no choice but to then be disconnected because you just learned everything about it. It's not meant to be easy. It's also not meant to be difficult. It doesn't mean that things aren't easy, and it sure as hell doesn't mean or imply that things are always good. Alright, collective, I hope that these messages resonate at this time, and that you consider subscribing to both of my channels if you haven't done so already. And may you have a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of time and space, and may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.